welcome to Master Joe Tech Lab. So here we master programming one byte at a time. So this course is a beginner course, and if you are intermediate, you can also gain one or two things from it. So I'll be teaching about how to use the command line. So this is an introduction to the Linux operating system. So there are many operating systems there. So I know that some of you are coming from Windows environments. Alright, so this is an introduction course to Linux operating system. Okay, so this is what we'll be doing today. We'll be learning about what is a shell, what is a terminal, and I'll show you some basic shell navigation. Alright, so let's go straight to business. Now, I know that everyone here should know what an operating system is. So for Linux, there are different Linux distributions. As you can see on the screen, we have the MX Linux, Manjaro, Linux Mint, Ubuntu, which we'll be using for most of our tutorials. Then the Debian, Fedora, and so on. Now this diagram you can see on your left shows the Linux architecture. So we can see we have the hardware, we have the kernel, we have the shell, we have applications and utility. So everyone knows what the hardware is. So that's like your CPU and so on, your RAM, as in this context. Alright, so the kernel is built on the hardware, so it is like the brain of the operating system. So it manages the hardware and serves as the bridge between the software and the hardware. So that is the kernel. Is a connection between the hardware and the software. So just think of it as the conductor of an orchestra coordinating different parts of your computer. So the shell is the interface where you interact with your computer. So in the shell, you send the command. So what the shell does is that it takes commands and communicates with the kernel to execute them. So the shell is the interface where you can see I will be showing you in a very short time. So it takes command from you and sends to the kernel to execute. So it's just imagine the shell as a translator between you and the computer. So it turns your commands into actions. So the shell takes in your commands and sends to the kernel. Okay. So now what are utilities? Utilities are small specialized programs that assist with various tasks. For example, if I want to copy and paste a file, if I want to copy and paste a file, that is made possible by an utility program. Copying and pasting, deleting, all those little tasks that you do on your computer, so they are made possible by utilities. So they are small specialized programs assisting with various tasks. Also, what is an application? An application is a program designed to perform specific tasks for the user. Okay, example of application like your Microsoft Word, like your editing software, like your graphics software. So those are applications. Like your recording software, that's an application. So they perform specific tasks for the user. Now, as I said about the shell, that it takes command from the keyboard and gives them to the operating system to perform. Alright, so that is all I will say about about shell. Okay. All right. So now let's dive into shell navigation. What does shell navigation mean? Shell navigation refers to the process of moving around and interacting with your computer file system using the commands in the command line interface. Now, I forgot to say something. Before Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Word, Microsoft actually came, the way the programmers or computer users interact with their computer is through the command line interface. So we have the graphical user interface and the command line interface. Graphical user interface is the interface that you can see. It's in form of pictures. You can see, then use your mouse to move about. You can click and do a lot of things. While the command line interface takes a text-based input, so you type. Okay, let me show you an example here. So this is a command line interface. You can only take text. This is a command line interface. Okay. So this is a command line interface. It can only take text. Now this is graphical user interface. Can you see it? This is graphical user interface. I interact with it based on pictures, while this is a command line interface. All right. So as I was saying, all right. So in the command line interface, we give instructions to the computer in a language it understands. Now, in the command line interface, most commands work like this: the command, the options, and the argument. Just put that at the back of your mind: the command, the options, and the arguments. All right. So in this lesson, we'll be talking about the three basic commands in shell navigation. That is the PWD, the CD, and LS. PWD means print working directory. CD means change directory. And LS means list files and directories. All right. Now, let's quickly go back to our terminal. So this interface you are seeing on the screen is called a terminal. It's called a terminal. Did I explain what a terminal is? Okay, let's go back. Okay, so I told you that a terminal, this is a program that opens a window and lets you interact with the shell. So this is a terminal here. All right. So now I'm in the terminal. So the LS is used to list files and directory. So every of our commands will follow this pattern: the command, options, and argument. Now let's use the LS command without any option. If I go to my terminal and write LS and I press enter, now it's going to list all the files and directories in this particular folder that I am. Now before that, PWD is used to show present working directory. PWD, present working directory. It means the folder that I am in right now. I'm actually using Git Bash. I'm using Git Bash because I'm in a Windows environment. I'm using Git Bash. but from the subsequent lessons I'll be using Ubuntu operating system, so I had to download Git Bash so that I can interact with my Windows as if that's with Linux commands on my Windows. Alright, pwd is to show which directory I am in right now. pwd present working directory. If I press enter, so this is showing that I am inside this directory, users/user directory. So that's pwd present working directory. Like, see, if I go to my Windows normally, okay, local disk, this is users and user. So can you see, if you look up here, you'll see this file path user. This is the directory that I am in. So in my command line, I can actually access this directory too, users, user. That is where we are right now. To be sure, we can use ls to list the files and folders in that directory. Can you see, we have app data, application data, contacts, cookies, desktop, documents, downloads. Now let's see if it's the same with our graphical user interface. Now see, we have my documents, we have downloads, we have contacts, we have desktops. Let's see if we can see contact on our command line. Can you see? This is contact, this is contact, this is desktop, this is documents, this is downloads. So the same with what we have on our graphical user interface. Alright, so that's the function of pwd, show you the directory that you are. ls lists all the files and folders in that directory. Now that was using ls without any option. That's using ls without any options. So now there are different options for using ls. So if you use ls dash l, so what it will show the directories and files in long format. Let's see what that means. So I can show my directories and files in long format by saying ls space dash l. Once I do that, can you see it lists all the directories, it lists all the files, and it shows some additional information about them. So can you see, let's go back there. If you see drwxr so this one is showing the file permission. R means read, W means write, X means execute. In our subsequent lessons, we'll talk about file permissions also. Then it gives other informations like the date it was created and so on. So let's clear our screen with CLEAR. We can use this to clear our screen. So that is using -L with our ls. Now let's see what the -A stands for. The -A stands when you include ls, when you say ls-A, it lists all the hidden files. So the option A lists all the hidden file. Let me press enter. Now look at these files that start with dot. Look at this one, .bash history. So those are hidden files which normally you might not see on your graphical user interface. So files that are hidden are listed by using ls-A. Alright, so there is -H, there is -R. Now let's try ls-H. It shows your files in human readable language. So you can see that it's very easy to read. All your files are shown in human readable language. Alright, so let's leave ls. Now let's go to the next one. which is cd. Okay, cd. Let's clear our screen. So cd means change directory. So if I want to move from one directory to another, like I demonstrated before, I can move into contact directory, I can come back, I can go into downloads directory and come back. So we can do that on the command line also. So cd means change directory. So as I said before, our commands follow this principle: commands, options, and arguments. Change directory. So we can, this is the command here, cd and the directory name. Okay, this is how we use cd command. First, you can use ls to know the directories that are in this, the folders that are in these directories. Alright, so now let's go into our documents. Let's go into our documents folder. I can use cd documents. Once I do that and I press enter, can you see? Notice document is added here. This was actually what I did. Let's say this is where we are now. Now I want to go into document. I can go like this. So this is documents. This is documents. So what I did by clicking on the graphical user interface, I did by writing text. Now let's list the files inside our documents. ls, can you see bandicam? Let's see if we have bandicam in our document. Can you see bandicam? This is where we are. Bandicam. cv4 delmat. Can you see that? So you can use cd and the directory name to change directory or to change folder. Alright, so you can practice that. You use your ls to list the files in that directory, and you will and you use cd and directory name to move inside that directory. Alright, so let's clear our screen. Use the clear command to clear your screen. Now let's say we want to move to our home directory. The home directory. How do we move? This sign we are seeing here is called the tilde sign. So that will be cd and tilde. If you can see this tilde sign at the left corner of your keyboard. Okay, as I was saying, you use the tilde sign together with the cd to change directory to your home directory. In our case, the users is the home directory. If I press enter, so this is our home directory. Yeah, so we can check. There's pwd present working directory. Can you see? This is our home directory. So we moved from documents to this directory. So cd together with the tilde sign changes our current directory to the user's home directory. Okay, let's do some more. ls, list all the directories. Okay, let's go back to our documents. Okay, instead of typing, you can use your arrow keys to check your previous commands. That's your arrow key. When you press your arrow key up, you can see your previous commands. Can you see that? Arrow down, arrow up. So this was our previous command. Let's go back to our documents. So we are inside our documents. To be sure, pwd present working directories. Can you see? We have entered the documents. ls, so we can list all the files in our folder or directory. So now, how do we go back to our previous directory? So we use cd together with dash. Cd together with dash. So this time around, it is not tilde sign, it is the dash. So when I press enter, can you see from documents, it takes me back to my previous directory, which is my root directory. Okay, so let's try it with another one. Look, let's go into favorites. Alright, cd into favorites. Okay, enter. So now I am inside the favorites. So let's clear the screen so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm inside the favorite folder to be sure. PWD. Can you see it? Favorites. You can see it at this place also. Okay, now let's list the files inside our favorite directory. Okay, these are the files in the favorite directory. So we can use cd dash as we did before, cd dash to go back to our previous directory. So now we are back in our root directory. I hope you guys are following. cd tilde. So cd tilde takes us to the home directory. cd tilde takes us to the home directory. cd / takes us to the root directory. So look at the files in your root directory. So these files are your program files. Can you see the bin folder, the cmd, and different important folders? So the files that are there are actually program files. That's in your root folder. So be careful what you do in your root folder. So that cd / takes you to the root folder. Then cd and tilde takes you to your home directory. Can you see the home directory? So this directory is different from this. Okay, I hope you got that. So let's clear our screen. So that's cd /. Okay. Now, what about some directories that have spaces? Okay, now look at this directory, for example, my documents. There's a space between my and documents. If I just type cd my documents, we see what it will show. Can you see? It has too many arguments. So how do we solve this problem? You can solve the problem by putting that directory that has space in quotes. So once you put them in double quotes, and you press enter, it will change into that directory. Can you see that? So once there is space in the name of your folder, you enclose it in double quotes. All right. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so that is basically all about shell navigation. Yeah, the more you use, the more you begin to understand. So you have to just practice these commands and use it to navigate your system. So what have we done so far? At the beginning of this lesson, so we learned about the Linux architecture. That's the shell and the kernel. And I told you what a shell is. It is a program that takes commands from the keyboard and gives them to the operating system. So this is our shell. So we also learned about what a terminal is. Okay, so these windows that you are seeing that opens, so that is the terminal. So this is our terminal. So the program that takes all these instructions from the terminal is called a shell. I hope you got that. So the shell takes commands that you put into the terminal. The shell takes the command that you put into the terminal. All right. Okay, so and we talked about that most of our commands work like this: the command, options, and arguments. So you can, for some commands they don't have options, for some commands they have options and they have arguments. And also we talked about the three basic commands. That's pwd, that's print working directory, cd change directory and ls list files and directories. Thank you very much. This is our first video, so do well to